Good evening, everyone, and thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Lindsay Mills.
And I'm Lee Nelson. We're glad you're with us. Day 2 of the John Williams murder trial. It continued today with more than half a dozen people taking the stand. Williams, of course, accused of shooting and killing Corporal Eugene Cole in the early morning hours of April 25th in the town of Norridgewock.
Shannon Moss is following the trial in Cumberland County and joins us now with more. Hi, Shannon.
Hi, Lindsay. Hi, Lee. Well, today more than 8 witnesses took the stand, mostly law enforcement officers, talking about the role they played the morning of April 25th. One deputy who was on duty with Corporal Cole and who spoke with him on the phone just before he was killed testified about how he and Cole had plans to arrest John Williams on drug charges if they saw him that night. Also, pictures of Corporal Cole's body lying on the ground in full uniform were shown to the jury as state police evidence technicians testified about the evidence that they collected. Also taking the stand today was Chris Williams. He is a friend of John Williams. They're not related. Williams told the prosecution that John Williams called him after 1 a.m. on April 25th while driving Corporal Cole's truck. He told me Gene snuck up behind him and that he shot Gene and he was scared police were going to kill him. He took a couple of hits of crack from a pipe that was in the car. I tried to talk some sense into him, Chris Williams said. He said, I told him to turn himself in to get it over with, and he wasn't interested in that. He told me he wasn't going to do that. He told me he was going to go into the woods, make a confession, to help Christina, who was his girlfriend, and kill himself. Now, John Williams' attorney, Vern Parody, didn't dispute most of the facts that were laid out today, but he did talk to Chris Williams about John's excessive drug use. Chris Williams said John Williams did crack all the time, all day long. And as a former drug user himself, Chris Williams described how being high can stimulate things, make things go faster, make you jittery, and for some people, make you paranoid. The defense is not disputing that John Williams shot and killed Corporal Cole. They're arguing that Williams was in the throes of drug addiction and that while he killed Corporal Cole, he did not intend to. State says while John Williams may have been intoxicated at the time, he knew exactly what he was doing. And of course, that trial is expected to last 2 weeks.
Yeah. It's been compelling so far, hasn't it?
It has, and moved a lot quicker than they thought. Already 8 witnesses today. It was about 6 yesterday. Judge says this thing is definitely moving along, so we'll see. And as Lee told you yesterday, John Williams is expected to testify at some point.
Yeah, wow, that'll be something.
Sure
All right, thank you, Shannon, very
bet.
much.
All right. Well, it definitely feels like the thick of summer out there, that humidity, right?
Yeah,
the bugs
I didn't even
are out
mind the
full
rain,
force.
really.
I know, it was kind of nice, but it feels like a thunderstorm might be on tap or something. Is that right or
That's
no?
why I do this job and you do that
I
job.
know, because I'm
Here's the
wrong,
thing,
but it feels that way.
Here's the thing about it. Lee didn't mind the rain graciously after 4 beautiful days, so that's good. And tomorrow might be one of the best days of the year, so all good stuff. And yeah, it is a little sticky out there. Lindsay is right about that part of what she said at least, but it's clear back to the west as this system moves out. Still raining over down east and northern Maine, but look at that clearing line really, really rapidly moving through. It's interesting to me because you can see 2 different elevations and the atmospheric conditions there. So there's your storm system moving away quickly, and then look at the different direction, the northwest wind direction, where clouds are building along the ridge lines here. We talked about those a couple of weeks ago, those wave clouds, and that's as things are clearing, they're being kind of revealed once the storm gets out of the way. So interesting stuff there. Temperatures are basically correspondent to whether or not there's any sun going on right now. So areas that are in the upper 60s and low 70s, areas that are still socked in and showery are in the 50s and 60s. Everybody clears out though by right around sunset tonight, and then we're clear overnight tonight. And as I mentioned, tomorrow, and of course it depends on your exact criteria for the perfect day, but tomorrow is probably one of the best days of the year because it's warm enough, low to mid 70s, it's sunny through the entire day, and the humidity is almost non-existent. So I think those are all the criteria that you check off the box for northern New Englanders and what they like in a day. So tomorrow looks fantastic, and then we stay clear overnight Wednesday. Guys, our next storm system moves in on Thursday afternoon and Thursday night. That'll be another rain event, but at least we're sandwiching some great weather in between.
Sounds good, Keith. Thanks so much. Now taking a look at some headlines. Former Red Sox superstar David Ortiz is recovering at Mass General Hospital in Boston as we speak. Earlier today, he underwent a 2-hour surgery after being shot at a bar in his native Dominican Republic. He even took some steps today. A spokesman for Big Papi says the slugger is expected to stay in intensive care for at least 48 hours. Ortiz was flown to Boston last night in an air ambulance provided by the Red Sox. That flight happened after doctors in the Dominican Republic removed his gallbladder and part of his intestine. Papi's liver was also damaged in that shooting.
And I'm sorry if I sound angry and undiplomatic, but I'm angry. And you should be too, and they're all angry as well.
That is comedian Jon Stewart testifying before the House Judiciary Committee in Washington earlier today. He was in Washington pushing for an extension of the 9/11 Victim Compensation Fund, which is set to expire next year. Stewart, along with some bipartisan lawmakers, say some 17 years later, first responders and their survivors still need financial help, and they are pushing to fully fund the VCF, as it's called, until at least 2090. We're going to hear a bit more of Stewart's testimony in the next half hour as well.
Governor Janet Mills has signed a bill expanding access to abortion services in the state. It allows nurse practitioners, physician assistants, and certified nurse midwives to perform certain types of abortions. Clinicians could provide abortion medication and in-clinic abortions. Maine is now the 9th state that allows healthcare professionals other than doctors to perform some abortions.
So after years of concerns about odors coming from industrial emissions, South Portlanders are one step closer to getting some answers now.
Yeah, with help from Maine's Department of Environmental Protection, the city is launching a new air monitoring program, which will go on for the next several months. Residents like Eva Getz will be collecting air samples, which will then be tested by the state's toxicologist to determine any health concerns.
We have roses and of course peonies, and that's a type of willow over there, lilacs.
Eva Getz is pretty proud of her garden.
I'll open the door and I'll go, oh my God, what is that smell?
She's not proud of the odor she smells at times when working outside.
Usually it's weekends, late nights, Sunday nights.
She's one of 40 people who received air collection canisters at a South Portland public meeting Monday night.
We have to follow our nose. The whole thing works on a vacuum situation.
The next time she smells an odor in the air, she'll use the one-time canister to collect an air sample.
The asphalt and oil smells, and they will just hang in the air. It's not pleasant.
Those samples will eventually be tested by Maine's Department of Environmental Protection to determine any health concerns. According to the city of South Portland, the samples will be tested for more than 50 types of what's called hazardous air pollutants. The results are expected to be released in August.
I just think as citizens here in South Portland, it's important that we do this kind of testing, and I'm so happy that it's finally happening. And I think it's so sad that we have to fight for clean air. Aren't they cool?
For people like Eva Getz, she's looking forward to finally getting some answers to find out if there is any risk to those odors.
It symbolizes perhaps honesty. Maybe if we can get an honest read on what is actually happening throughout South Portland, perhaps we can do something about it.
Now, this air monitoring program comes on the heels of a couple of new air quality testing bills introduced by Maine lawmakers last month. This after the city of South Portland learned in March that Global Partners LP, a petroleum storage company, had been violating its emissions limits, and the Environmental Protection Agency knew about it for years. Lee, over to you.
We have news tonight of a new study that suggests binge drinking and opioid use go hand in hand often. Researchers from the Centers for Disease Control studied 3 years of national data on drug use, and they found that binge drinkers were nearly twice as likely to misuse prescription opioids than non-drinkers. The majority of those who engaged in the two behaviors were over 26 and had lower education and income. Binge drinking is considered to be 4 or more drinks for women and 5 or more drinks for men on one occasion.
How about some good health news now? The American Cancer Society says the number of cancer survivors continues to increase. Experts say that the year 2030, by that year, more than 22 million people will have beaten cancer. To put that in perspective, there were nearly 17 million Americans who had a history of cancer on January 1st of this year. And as you might expect, experts are crediting improvements in treatment and early detection.
So a lot of people have bad credit or no credit at all. There is a very big company trying to help you with that. We'll tell you about that coming up.
Very interesting. And Starbucks is launching a new program to cut back on paper waste. I think you got to take part in this one at the airport. Caught my attention earlier today. Before we go to commercial break, though, we wanted to show off our new newsroom.
Yeah, here it is.
Very cool.
Not too shabby, huh? After being very shabby before.
Exactly. Everyone's sitting right now, but you can stand at these desks.
Yeah, this is really cool. You can stand up. You can kind of adjust them to whatever height you are. Mine would be higher than Lindsay's by a little bit, probably.
That's true. The height difference is pretty unique. But yeah, no, we're very excited about it. So welcome to our new newsroom.
Yeah, we'll be right back.
Everyone's calling that the limo driver.
Oh yeah, that.
Okay. Oh my goodness. Jeff, thank you. All right. I think that was a good time to do that.
Mm-hmm. I do too.
Da, da, da. Yeah. Da, 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 da.
So I'm assuming Starbucks is you to me. Why don't you? I'm gonna start Amazon, and then you're gonna read the bulk of it. So why don't you start Starbucks, and I'll read the bulk of it. Yeah.
Sure. Sounds good. Hey Facebook, I know you can't really see us because we are directly behind the camera, but how's everybody doing? Hopefully everyone's doing okay.
And then here, let me just say one more thing. Then the next one we'll just flip-flop it again. I'll start it and you take the bulk of it.
You got it. It sounds good.
All right, sounds good.
So I heard about this Starbucks thing this morning actually, and while it's a new idea, it's also not really a new idea. The concept essentially is using reusable cups that you would take from the Starbucks barista and then have a return spot somewhere in the airport or whatever. What's the difference from I don't know, have you been to the airports now where you can order food from anywhere on a tablet and they bring it to you in a bowl and then you leave it there? And
I haven't.
Oh, it's so cool. Like Newark has it, a few other places. But anyway, you can be anywhere in the airport and you order whatever you want on your tablet that they have provided there for you.
I've seen the tablets a bit.
That's so cool. And you can use your Sky Miles.
Ah, very
So no
interesting.
more cashing them in on magazines and all that stuff that we end up doing. But
everyone's favorite shot.
The shot, I know. The prom shot. But anyway, it's just interesting because they bring you out like a real restaurant bowl or silverware, and then you just leave it and someone comes and gets it.
See, Bill, this is why we don't like this shot, because this is how I have to talk to Lindsay. I have to talk into the back of her head.
It is funny.
Here's a question. Have you got bad credit, or even worse, no credit at all?
If so, Amazon is looking to help you. They've launched a new program called Amazon Credit Builder. It offers shoppers a way to get Amazon's rewards credit card, even if you're otherwise ineligible. The new card has no annual fee. It offers 5% cash back on many purchases. It works like any other credit card, except cardholders must make a refundable security deposit that becomes a customer's line of credit. The card can only be used for purchases at Amazon.com or with merchants that offer Amazon Pay. Cardholders can eventually upgrade to an unsecured Amazon credit card after it's determined the account is in good standing. Now Starbucks, it's testing reusable cups at London's Gatwick Airport.
Yeah, we've been talking about this. Passengers will have the option to select a free reusable cup or a standard paper one. However, a paper cup will cost a small fee, probably about 6 cents. Those reusable cups must be returned at specific drop-off locations throughout the airport before you get on your plane. Cups will then be collected and washed and sterilized and returned to Starbucks ready for the next customer. The month-long pilot program aims to cut down, obviously, on paper cup waste and determine if customers are open to this idea. About 7 million paper cups are used just at Gatwick Airport each year. Yikes. Target is enhancing its family care benefits for its workforce, including hourly, part-time, and salaried employees.
Starting later this month, the retailer will offer extended paid time off to allow employees to care for a new baby or maybe an ailing parent. Employees who just welcomed a new child, whether by birth, adoption, surrogacy, or foster placement, will receive double the amount of paid time off in addition to paid maternity leave. Target is also expanding backup care benefits. Beginning this fall, then, Target will also provide 20 days of backup care at an affordable price in the event that school unexpectedly closes or a care provider cancels. Lee, this is sounding really good for me right now.
Good timing.
And good timing because we're going on break. I might not come back. No, I'm just kidding. Coming up, we'll see how Maine ranks compared to other states when it comes to pet safety.
Yeah, I think we rank pretty high. And Keith is going to let us know if he has any concerns in the forecast. That is coming up next.
I was wondering why the light was on in
there.
The dressing room.
Now I know.
I thought you were having a dad bod photo shoot. There's also a company that prides itself on having those kinds of benefits. You ever use Boxed?
No.
It's like a Costco or a Sam's Club, but it's all online, and so you get bulk goods online, and it's really not that much more expensive. They ship it right to your place, and they employees there, if they have a child that goes to college, Boxed will pay for the college tuition of the child. Yeah.
Like the whole thing?
Yeah.
Holy.
And if you're getting married, they help with a little bit of, some of the costs for the wedding. We saw a story on it on another news outlet, and that's when we were like, wait, we should try to use them, but they've got to be more expensive. We ordered all the same things we normally get at Costco, and it was the same price.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And it was helpful the summer Clay had the double hip surgery because he does the heavy lifting literally, and I can't lift those bulk items,
Right.
So having them delivered was awesome.
It's really interesting. Clearly, all of these benefits are, they're fabulous for the employees, but they're coming because unemployment is so low that, historically low, that, people just, they got to do whatever they can to get employees.
Incentivize, yeah. It's so true.
Yeah.
It's so true.
It's really interesting.
All right, I finally have Facebook up. Riley's given us some love for the new newsroom. He says it looks nice and cool.
Oh, nice.
He enjoys our behind the scenes. Rich, I would agree with you. I'm more of a Dunkin' person than a Starbucks person.
You know what? That's funny. I go to each.
You do?
Oops. Here we go. That's when we say ...
Dot. I know.
Starbucks versus what?
Dunkin'.
They're
I go
not
to
even
both.
that different in price anymore, unless you get some weird stuff at Starbucks.
I found that the dark roast at Dunkin's actually is not bad, because the regular, if you just drink it black, you're like, okay, that's not good coffee. But that's why they put 8 gallons of sugar and cream and.
That's how I take it.
Yeah.
Extra cream. You were giving me Sigourney Weaver vibes from Ghostbusters when she opens the fridge and it's a bright light.
Oh yeah.
By on 8.
That's what you were giving me in the dressing room.
It was real bright though. We'll leave it and then we can go down.
So we're back. I hate to tell you this, hesitate to tell you this, Keith, but I don't think that's a sun lamp. So
No,
I don't know
it's
that
not
it's going to
working.
help you.
It's not working.
Whatever you were trying to accomplish in there, but keep at it.
This actually is a real thing, though. That how long has this newsroom been in existence? It's the first time we had any dedicated
Dressing room.
changing room
Right.
space. And let's be real, it's a closet, but we're pretty excited about
Yes,
it.
we're hugely
It's
excited about it.
it's important to keep standards low so that when you do something, it's great, you know. It's a place to change, though. That's something. All right, here's the last of the rain moving out of down East Maine and northern parts of the state as well. Everything kind of well timed by the models as of yesterday, indicating that we'd get some sun in the afternoon over western and southern Maine. And certainly we are. Meanwhile, it's struggling over down East Maine. It'll happen before sunset. We've still got a couple hours here to go, and we should be able to get this through. It's moving quickly. As I mentioned, you can see the change in flow and direction to the northwest on the backside of this. And the winds are actually getting a little bit gusty over New Hampshire as this system clears out. But that's about it. Otherwise, current temperatures are in the 70s over southern Maine. So it's a have sun, don't have sun situation. And areas that haven't gotten into any sunshine are in the 50s and low 60s still. Those who have are in the low and mid 70s. Dew points were a little sticky, but they're starting to get pushed out, scrunched out. So it's the hour or so, or 2 hours, after you clear out, but before the air mass change arrives. That feels pretty sticky, pretty summery, but that's gone by tonight. There goes the rain. It's clear. Temperatures actually drop relatively quickly tonight into the 40s in some spots, 50s for most of us by tomorrow morning. As I mentioned, I love tomorrow. I think it looks really, really nice. A lot of sunshine. I don't think we're really going to see any cloud cover. Temperatures between 70 and 75, so almost that perfect kind of day out there tomorrow. And into tomorrow night, it's clear as well. And then on Thursday, our next storm system approaches, but it depends on your location whether or not you'll deal with it during the day. So Thursday morning is quiet. Here come the clouds, and then the showers over southern Maine in the afternoon. But if you're over northern Maine, it's not until about sunset. Showers, maybe a rumble of thunder overnight Thursday in through Friday. And then Friday is okay, but there'll be some showers around and a little bit more unstable as compared to certainly Wednesday. So I keep looking for an extended period of warmth here, some sort of consistent ridging signal. And I see one. You've been looking too. I saw you looking on the weather bell the other day, computer models for it. I see a little hint of that at least into next week. This is late next week, mid to late next week. It's not a lock, but it's one of the better looking signals I've seen in a while that indicate maybe some prolonged warmth. So we'll keep an eye on that because we haven't really had that. Although we broke out of our funky pattern, we have not had prolonged warmth. In fact, I was looking at what's the latest Portland has hit 85 because we have not done that yet. It's pretty late. It's July 9th. And there was actually a year in, I believe it was 1940, that it did not happen.
Wow.
Which is really crazy. I meant to look through and see if there were any records missing from that year, because there were a couple of years around World War II that we missed a few.
We're concentrating on some other things.
Yeah, we had some other stuff going on. But still, so we're not even near like record territory for that.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, fair enough. All right, thank you, Keith, very much. Got to move on to this. And I take issue with this line, and I'm going to tell you why in a minute. I'll read it first.
Sure.
It is 2019 and dads change diapers. Unfortunately, the nation's restrooms have yet to catch up with modern parenting. Dads were changing diapers in 1994. I know that for sure. Anyway, new research by diaper manufacturer Pampers reveals that 9 out of 10 fathers have used a public restroom lacking a baby changing table. Now, singer, songwriter, and father of 2, John Legend, is hoping to change that by working with Pampers to provide 5,000 more changing tables to public restrooms.
Now, this would be interesting. You and Cindy give Clay and I some diaper changing
I
101
was
tips.
great at it, but I've forgotten completely.
This is one of our top posts on social media today. Kevin says, I think, yes, they should be, but it shouldn't be forced on businesses. Let them make their own decisions on what's in their facility. Teresa adds, I think if a place has one in one bathroom, that they should have it in both. Some places don't have one at all. And John comments, I work in a secure office that only employees can enter. Your baby doesn't work here, so no need for changing
That's
tables.
a very specific instance, though, right there.
Sure.
So
But
I don't know if I. It would be interesting to try now, see if I can
To see
remember
if
how
you
to
still
do it,
had
or
it,
to
to
do it
brush
as
up on
fast
it?
as. Yeah, I mean, I know I could do it, but
Yeah, it's like muscle memory. It comes
Right,
right back.
probably
Like getting on a
is.
bike.
Right.
That you do.
Yes,
Yeah.
that I do.
Okay. When it comes to pet safety, Maine is one of the safest states in the nation.
Yeah, SafeWise.com ranked all 50 states. They found that Maine is the 3rd safest. part of the reason for the high ranking that Maine has the 3rd strictest animal protection laws and the 4th most vets per capita. Oregon ended up taking the top spot. Colorado came in number 2. On the other end, Iowa was ranked last, with Missouri and Wyoming rounding out the bottom 3. Wah, wah, wah.
So yeah, we have to ask Cindy now this question. You think you still have it? The diaper changing?
It comes back to you. Like you said, like riding a bike. Yeah.
Riding a really smelly bike. That's what it is.
Smelly. With emphasis on that. Yes. A lot more coming up though on News Center Maine at 5:30.
That's right. The folks at Acadia National Park are reminding people that you have to camp at a campsite when you're in the park. You can't just like pull off the side of the road and camp anywhere. This is all starting because some folks were doing that. They had a campfire, it got out of control. Then they found several other people who were doing this. So anyway, the word's out there now. Also ahead, we're going to tell you about this great organization, Cops for Kids with Cancer, and one family in Maine who found tremendous help and support from this group, even though they're located in Boston. They had a little help from Maine in getting to the folks in Boston, but they came through big time.
Sweet story.
Awesome.
It's awesome.
All right, stick with us. Raindrops when we come back.
Boom.
There we go.
Boom.
So this is my tease. This is how I forgot to write it until
Illegal
You would
camping
never
fires.
know. You would never know. Are we for the raindrops again?
I don't know.
Over there, yeah.
Sweet. All right, I think we are done.
All right.
Sweet.
How much time we got out of this?
I think we have a lot of time. Oops, sorry, excuse me. Sweet. Excellent. 2 minutes.
All right.
What is raindrops today?
We can use it a little bit. It's about how it's an article about how journalists essentially can mess up science headlines and change public opinion.
Kind of
And
like
we
how I
kinda
was
talked
like,
about
it
this
feels like it's
before.
going to thunderstorm today.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Something
okay.
like that.
Well, that goes for anything, you know, like if you're not 100% knowledgeable in something,
Right.
there's so much
hard
room
to
for
measure.
error. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's certainly not really not a knock on journalists. It's a matter of what you're trained for, what you're not trained for.
Yeah.
You know, I don't look over court records, so it's kind of like that. But yeah.
Very interesting.
Every summer is a super summer. for
Every
everyone.
summer is a Subaru summer, especially in Maine. Everyone drives
It's
a
funny,
Subaru.
yeah, you go south and you just don't see them.
No.
Very rare.
But yeah. Oh man, it was just like
Stand by,
earlier. It was,
Rio.
the air was thick outside.
It was pretty much gone now.
That's good.
Yeah, you might have a tough time late in summer. 'Cause
Yeah. Breathing.
Yeah. All right. Today's Brain Drops is actually about communicating science, because science doesn't matter that much if you can't communicate it. And this headline caught my eye. I love Vox. I look at it sometimes, and especially some of their science stuff. But hyped up science erodes trust. Hear how researchers can fight against it. There is actually, the idea behind this is that, so the research happens, there's a whole paper. Then there's a press release sent. The press release then gets taken by journalists and made into a headline.
Mm-hmm.
And that headline is all that most people see. And so, two problems here. One, you're trying to distill a research paper into a headline. And the other thing is you want headlines that click, and journalists, for the most part, are not scientists. So you've got a couple of problems. It's like that thing in kindergarten where you start a message that goes around,
Telephone,
and then
yeah.
telephone, and it comes out in a different manner. This is actually something that I addressed with the newsroom about a year ago. I don't know if you remember, I sent a an all email that said, "Be careful with the latest studies."
Oh, yes.
Evaluate.
I thought you were going to say polar vortex.
No. Evaluate if they're any good. Evaluate if they actually are funded by the right groups, and if there's something that is going to be a whiplash effect. And here's a perfect example of that. Let's go to the next graphic. This is something I hear a lot when people talk about climate change. They said, well, in the 70s, scientists believed the Earth was cooling. And so that came largely from newspaper headlines that say predictions of cooling. Blah. These are all the peer-reviewed papers about climate change from the 1960s through the 1970s, and the blue bar are ones that predicted cooling, and the red bar are those that are predicted warming. So as you see, there's only 2 years in which they're 1 and 1, which is not much of a sample. All the other years were warming. My point is, the headline didn't match the actual science. And so that's why I try to get people to go to the source, but we do have to be careful about how we interpret them. Nutrition's another place. Whiplash, right?
Yes.
Cholesterol's bad for you. Oh, it's okay for you. We can talk more about that maybe tomorrow.
White meat thing.
Yeah.
I mean, I know. Luckily, you'll answer all of our questions
We'll
that
try.
we have.
We
You're
will
very
try.
patient with us. News Center Maine at 5:30 starts right now. It's true. It's interesting. Bye, guys.